Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 5th of January and welcome to the newspaper analysis. Okay guys, are you able to see me? Can you hear the voice? Is everything clear? Okay, there were certain connectivity issues meanwhile. I hope that everything is now fine. Okay, can you hear me? Okay. So first of all, guys, before starting up, I will be taking the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper as well as the good and relevant articles from the Indian Express explained section also will be taking. Now, the PDF that I will be using here, the PDF will be available in our Telegram channel. You can download it from our the Telegram channel. Link has been given in the description box. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the important articles. So today, first of all, let's see the Indian Express explained section. The first article it is talking about is the EWS economically weaker section controversy that is going on which the Supreme Court will be taking a call. So this particular issue has been mentioned here. Then after that, below article IHU variant fine, which is a new variant of the COVID-19 detected into the France, it is being talked about. Fine. However, you don't need to go too much into this particular detail because it is a very evolving kind of a thing. Then the Theranos case. So this Theranos case, it is a case of the USA where one of a startup had duped people or investors of their money. So this is the thing this is carried here. However, nothing much more important into this particular direction. Then further moving on, after that we reach to the Hindu page, Hindu newspaper, and this is the page number 1. The first article here, it is talking about the Supreme Court which will hear the EWS quota case today. So we'll understand that what this controversy is all about. Then the states told to share intel on the common grid. Now basically this is the multi-agency center which is being talked about. So with respect to the counter-terrorism, we'll see that what has been provided here into this particular article. Then further moving on, weekend curfews, etc. Nothing very much important into this particular direction. Please avoid these particular things. Then moving to the city section. After that, the rising number of cases, etc. are being talked about. Fine. Then guys, further moving on, we reach to the state section, and here as we move on, fine, we further find that basically the issue with respect to the rising of the marriageable age for the girls has been asked. Okay, so the marriageable age, it was proposed that it will be increased from 18 years to the 21 years. So into this particular direction, the Odisha child panel has given some of the very good recommendations. We'll see all these recommendations as what has been provided here. Then further moving on into this particular direction, concerns over the Niti Aayog's low ranking of the Rajasthan. So guys, basically onto the health index, the Rajasthan was given a very low rank, and a few days back we have seen this entire health index. So basically, why only the Rajasthan's health index, the rank is low and all such kind of a thing, not very much relevant for your examination. The state specific data is there. Then further moving on into this particular direction, guys, after that the political news, etc. has been talked about. Now this article talks about that the constitutional validity of the Dam Safety Act has been challenged. So basically, recently we have seen that the Dam Safety Act was passed. Now into this Dam Safety Act, a lot of power was given to the center government that they can take the steps in order to ensure that the dams are resilient. But now here, guys, the states are saying that the definition of the dam has not been given in a proper way, and into this particular way, any infrastructure the central government can intrude. So it should not be there. Fine. So for that particular thing, the petition has been made into the Madras High Court. Further moving on, guys, after that we see here that the article has been talked about, which is talking about the right to privacy. Now into this particular article, very good points have been given with respect to the right of privacy. What is the domain of right of privacy? So very good article. With respect to our examination, we'll be seeing this article. Then we reach to the editorial page, and the first editorial, it is talking about the hint on one nation one NGO regime. So now a tussle between the government and the NGOs are going on. So we'll see this particular entire article into that particular capacity. Then the bottom line on in Blinken's foray into South Asia. So the Secretary of State of the USA is making a kind of is giving a big focus onto the region of the Asia Pacific. So we'll see that what are the implications of that particular thing. Then the side article, inadequate response. So again, this article is talking about that EWS controversy that is going on. So guys, we'll see this particular article. Then further below article, it is talking about the coup or the crisis that is going into the Sudan. So with respect to the Sudan crisis, we'll see this particular entire article. Then further moving on, disproving the charge of conspiracy. So Gandhi's assassin, Making of Nathuram Godse, this book has been released, which is talking that okay, after the assassination of Gandhiji, what was basically how the RSS realized that it was a kind of a blunder that was committed and all such kind of a thing. So the Hindutva and all such things are there. Not important article, guys, with respect to our UPSC examination. Then the eligible denied benefits. So guys, see this particular article, it is talking about the Raithu scheme. Okay, it is talking about the Raithu Bharosa scheme of the Andhra Pradesh government. So under this Raithu scheme of the Andhra Pradesh government, what happens? The farmers, they are given the 13,500 rupees. Now this particular scheme is telling that many of the farmers, because of the bank failures, they have not received their money. So how many farmers did not receive the money? How many bank failures were there? So specific data with respect to the Andhra Pradesh has been talked about. Fine. However, few days back on Telegram, I have shared this particular news also with respect to the Raithu scheme of the Andhra Pradesh, that how the farmers are being given help under that particular thing. And actually the Raithu scheme was the precursor which led for the creation of the PM Kisan. Now under the PM Kisan, the farmers are given the 6,000 rupees support. So onto that particular line, the Raithu scheme was the precursor. However, the state specific data that how many farmers did not receive the income, etc., not very much needed. Fine. Then further moving on, the industrial image makeover of the Kerala. So the Kerala government, fine, what industry makeover they are doing, such thing has been explained. Then further, Sri Lanka cabinet clears the oil tank deal. So this oil tank deal already we have seen, or today also we'll be seeing that what it is being talked about here. Then further moving, guys, after that, the other articles, EWS quota, will see it. Fine. The intelligence grid will be seeing this particular data. Then further moving on, other articles not very much important with respect to your examination. Then guys, further moving on, after that, the rising number of COVID-19 cases, etc., are being discussed. ICMR had approved an indigenous kit to detect the Omicron. So into this direction, the WHO's directive to create the genome consortium for South Asia will see this particular thing what has been provided. Then further, after that, moving on, she signs combat training order for the People's Liberation Army. So basically the PLA of the China, fine, they are being trained for the combat training, and these particular kind of a things hint that in future there might be some kind of a confrontation if it happens with the India. Fine, so the China should be ready. Such kind of things are going on. However, guys, you don't need to go and see these day-to-day development, fine, because onto the thematic line, such kind of a things are not that much very important. Then after that, the Sudan protests are being talked about. We'll discuss this particular article. Then China to modernize the nuclear arsenal. Okay. Then guys, after that, we reach to the business page, and onto the business page, the Omicron and the economic prospects, fine, because of the Omicron, etc., fine, has been mentioned. A large number of corporate trends have been talked about. You don't need to see these corporate trends, not important for your examination. And then we reach to the sports page. So that is, guys, the overview of the important articles. Now every day I say that understanding what is important for your examination is half the battle won for your UPSC, because many a times we are not able to identify which articles are important, which are not important, and we are wasting a lot of time. So understanding it becomes very important. So that is all. And now let's take all these articles one by one in the detail. Now, starting up with the GS quote, as we do in every class. So today we'll be taking the quote from the Aristotle, the Greek philosopher. What the Aristotle says? Aristotle says that it is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain thought without accepting it. Now, guys, what this particular thing sees, basically whenever a kind of a thought is imposed on us, we come into a kind of a mental notion that we have to accept this particular thought, we have to agree with this particular thought. And the moment this particular notion comes, and if we don't agree, what we do, we defy it, we go against that particular thought, and because of that particular thing, the disputes happen, the confrontation happens, and a lot of problem emerges. So what Aristotle says, Aristotle says that a truly educated mind is one which can accept this particular point, that there could be a different kind of a thought. I don't need to agree with that particular thought, still that thought can exist. So into this particular direction, the Aristotle's prescription makes a lot of sense into the present society, because guys, today we see that when the different thoughts are there, different ideologies are there, we feel that we have to accept it, and if we don't want to accept it, we negate it, disputes happen. So this particular the idea becomes very much important. Moreover, guys, the same idea had given by the French philosopher Voltaire also. And the French philosopher Voltaire says that I may not agree with what you say, but I will protect your right to say so. until my last breath. And without accepting the thought should exist, this is a mark of educated mind provided by the Aristotle as well. So please do use this particular idea in answers related to the GS paper number 2, GS paper number 4, as well as in the essay also you can utilize it. Fine. So that is all. And now let's move to the first article. Okay, so guys, here the first article, here what we have done, actually we have clubbed the three articles. All of them are talking the same thing. Fine. And this particular article, first of all, will be important in your GS paper number 2, the constitutional issues. GS paper number 2, the constitutional issues. This particular article will be important. Now first of all, I will tell you that what is the background of this particular article, and then we'll be coming into the present news, that what is the present issue that is there. However guys, the similar article we have just seen 2 days back also, 2-3 days back also we have seen this particular thing. So if you know it, please stay focused, because it will be a revision for you guys. See, basically guys, when we talk about India, India is a welfareist country. And India being a welfareist country, India is bound under a social contract. What is a social contract? A social contract is a two-way agreement on in which there is state onto the another hand, and then there are the individuals onto the another hand, or you can say the citizens are onto the another hand. Now the state, first of all, the individuals, they have said to the state that okay, you can make a law for us, you can make the rules for us. The individuals, they have surrendered their liberty to the state, that okay, you make law for us, we will agree for all of your laws. But on to the another hand, the state has also agreed, that in return the state will be giving the welfare to the individuals, state will be giving the entitlements to the individual. See, this is the entire idea of a welfareist state. This is an entire idea of the social contract in which the citizens and the state are bound. Now into this particular welfare, the state has also promised to the citizens that okay, we are giving you the equity, we are giving you all the opportunities. Fine. Now when guys we talk about the societies, actually into the societies there are large number of inequalities that are there. Inequalities because of caste is there, inequality because of income status is there, inequality because of the gender is there. Fine. So whenever this inequality is to be removed, obviously something extra is to be given by the state, something extra is to be given by the state. And in giving that particular extra, state comes with the concept of the reservation, state comes with the concept of the affirmative action. Now under the reservation, under the affirmative action, a positive discrimination will be made. What is this positive discrimination? It means that the people who are the poor people who have been discriminated, the people who are at the lower spectrums, they will be given something extra entitlement. So this is the idea of reservation and affirmative action. Now guys, into this particular idea of reservation and affirmative action, the state had identified that there are the three type of sections. There are the scheduled caste, there are the scheduled tribe, and then there are the OBCs. They are to be given some kind of a extra support, so therefore they are being given the reservation. The scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they have been given reservation under the original design of the constitution. However, the OBCs, they were given the reservation after the 1990 onto the basis of the Mandal Commission. Is it clear? So guys, what we are doing, we are giving the reservation. Why we are giving the reservation? Because the state had agreed, the welfare state has to do this particular thing in order to bring equity. So we are giving actually the reservation to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, and the OBCs. The thing was going on. In total, 49.5% reservation was being given to them. The scheduled caste, they were being given the 15% reservation. The scheduled tribe, they were being given the 7.5 reservation, and the OBCs, they were being given the 7.5% reservation. In total, 49.5% reservation was being given to them. Now guys, when we talk about this particular reservation that was being given 49.5% into one of a Supreme Court judgment in 1992, the Indra Sahani judgment, it was provided that the reservation should not exceed more than 49.5%. It should stay within 50% only. Clear? Because then the other general classes, unreserved category, for them the injustice will happen. So it was said, please maintain it at 49.5%. Now guys, as the time passed, there was the demand that was created that why you are giving the reservation only onto the basis of social status, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs, all were being given reservation onto the basis of social status. So it was said that we need to give reservation onto the economic basis also. And guys, into this particular capacity, what had happened, the idea of the economically weaker section came. Now this idea of economically weaker section is an old idea. It came in 2005. Clear what happened, guys? Actually in 2005, the SR Sinho committee, again I'll repeat, SR Sinho committee recommended that the reservation should be given to the economically weaker section. Actually in 2005, the commission for economically backward classes was constituted at that point of time by the government. This commission for economically backward classes was led by the SR Sinho, and this SR Sinho committee recommended that the reservation should be given to the economically weaker section. However, at that point of a time in 2010, nothing was done, and the three classes, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs, they were only given the reservation. Then guys came 2019. Actually in 2019, government decided to implement this SR Sinho committee recommendation, and then in 2019 government came out with the 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act. And with this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, within the article number 15, subclause 6 was added, and within the article number 16 also the subclause 6 was added, and it was provided that the EWS, economically weaker section people, fine, they will be provided extra 10% reservation. They will be provided extra 10% reservation. Is it clear? Now guys, number one thing, the moment this extra 10% reservation was given to the EWS category, what happened? The total reservation, it became 59.5%. The total reservation became 59.5%. Now guys, the moment, first of all, this 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act came, at the same time it was challenged into the Supreme Court. It was said that into the Indira Sahni judgment of the 1992, it was provided that the maximum reservation needs to be 50%, but now it has breached the 50%. Fine. So the moment that came, there was a petition that was filed in Supreme Court and it got challenged. Is it clear? That was going on already. Clear? Now one more new controversy developed. Now when this new controversy developed, this controversy new developed in 2021. What happened in 2021? Guys, under the NEET AIQ All India quota, under the NEET also, it was notified that this reservation will be given. Now the reservation for both the OBC will be given, as well as the reservation for both the EWS will be given. Is it clear? This particular thing came. Now guys, this particular thing has now been challenged. Is it clear? Into the Supreme Court, that why you are giving reservation to the EWS category. Actually the challenge was made that why reservation is being given, but what happened? Supreme Court asked a different kind of a question from the center government. Supreme Court asked the question onto this entire EWS reservation. Now Supreme Court asked that okay, when this EWS reservation is being given, you are identifying the people who will get the reservation on two criterias. You are identifying the people on two criterias. Number one is the income criteria, and number two is the asset criteria. Is it clear? You say that EWS reservation will be given to the people who are earning less than 8 lakh rupees per annum. Is it clear? You are saying that EWS people will get the reservation who are earning less than 8 lakh rupees. Now into this particular capacity, the Supreme Court has said one thing very important, guys. Please do note down here what Supreme Court said. Supreme Court provided this thing that when we talk about the OBC category also, within the OBC category there are two types of OBCs. One are the creamy layer OBCs and other are the non-creamy layer OBCs. Now the creamy layer OBCs, they are not getting any benefit of the reservation, whereas the non-creamy layer OBCs, they get the reservation. Now how we divide the creamy layer and the non-creamy layer? They are also divided onto the income, and there also the income limit is 8 lakh rupees per annum. So do you think that the economically weaker section and OBCs, they are equal? Because for the OBC also to get the reservation, fine, the income limit is up to 8 lakh rupees, and for the EWS category also to get the reservation, the income limit is 8 lakh rupees. But we all know that the OBCs, they are more backward, the OBCs, they are more deprived. What you have done, you had put the 8 lakh rupees limit for EWS, which is equal to the 8 lakh rupees limit that was for the OBC. OBCs. So the Supreme Court questioned the government that okay, when you decided this 8 lakh rupees limit, what was the logic that you had? Was any survey conducted at that point of a time? Was any committee at that point of a time whose advice you take? How you came on to this particular 8 lakh rupees limit? So basically guys, what happened, the Supreme Court sent a notice to the central government. The Supreme Court sent a notice to central government and provide that what was the logic of this 8 lakh rupees limit. Then guys, after this particular thing, this particular thing happened, what happened, the government, okay, the government constituted an expert committee. The government constituted an expert committee to study this particular 8 lakh rupees limit. Is it clear? So I hope you are understanding the chronology. What happened? First of all, the Supreme Court sent a notice to the government why you came out with this limit. Then the government constituted an expert committee to study that okay, why we made this particular limit. Now guys, what had happened? Now we have come to the present time. Now the committee had submitted its report and the committee had provided the logic that why we have given this particular 8 lakh rupees limit. So the committee had given two arguments. Two arguments have been given. First argument that has been given here, it has been provided that see, when we talk about the EWS criteria, when we talk about the economically weaker section category, fine, when we see their income, that is the 8 lakh rupees income, we see the income for the financial year prior to the year of application. So the last year's income is seen. But when we see the income of the OBC category, we see the gross annual income into the 3 consecutive years. So OBC's 3 last year's incomes are seen. So let's say that into the past 3 years, regularly the OBCs are earning more than 8 lakh rupees. We can say that okay, now they have improved. But for the EWS, only last 1 year's income we see. So therefore, OBCs are still given a lot of legroom as per the committee. So therefore, 8 lakh rupees limit was fine. Then the second argument that was given by this particular committee, it goes like this, that when we talk about the OBCs, clear, now the OBCs, the income from salaries, agriculture, traditional artisan professions, these incomes are excluded for the OBCs. But for the EWS, all these incomes are included. Even the income from the farming is to be included into this particular 8 lakh rupees limit. So guys, the OBCs, they still have a lot of legroom because their income will not include all these particular salaries, agriculture, traditional artisan professions. So the OBCs have a lot of legroom. So the committee that was constituted by government, it justified this 8 lakh rupees limit. It said that it was not at all a problem. This 8 lakh rupees can be continued. Moreover guys, this particular committee that was constituted, this particular committee also provided this thing that see the asset criteria that was there. Is it clear? I told you that in order to determine who will be the economically weaker section, the asset will also be seen, the house that they are having, the land they are having. So they said that this asset criteria should additionally be removed. This particular thing happened. So this particular issue guys had happened up till now. Moreover, this committee that came, this committee also recommended one more important aspect. This committee said that okay, the Supreme Court should not disturb this particular setting that has now been made. Fine. Why? Because this particular year still the students will be taking the admission. So for this year, please don't disturb anything which is going on. Please maintain the status quo. Now, this all thing has happened. And guys, now what will happen? The Supreme Court will be giving the final decision into this particular matter today. Is it clear? So guys, what will happen today? Today the Supreme Court will hear this particular matter, and into this particular thing, the final decision will be given. So we need to see what will happen, and then tomorrow we'll be able to make a sense that okay, whether the thing which has been done, it was fine or not. However guys, meanwhile, the criticisms have also come into this particular line. The criticism that has been there is this, that basically what had happened, okay, so the criticism has also come into this particular line. Now, what are the criticism? Just a minute. So criticism is this, that basically there are the consumer expenditure surveys that have been conducted from time to time. In 2011-12, the consumer expenditure survey was carried, and into this consumer expenditure survey of 2011 and 12, it was provided that actually in India, large number of people are there who are earning less than, in fact, a very big chunk of people are earning less than 8 lakh rupees limit. And what you have done? You have put this 8 lakh rupees limit, and when large number of people are already earning less than 8 lakh rupees limit, what will happen? A lot of households will automatically come under this EWS category. free, and therefore everybody will virtually be becoming eligible for the reservation, and it will actually defeat the entire purpose of the reservation. So there are certain criticisms also that has come into this particular line. Fine. So guys, I hope that you have understood this entire controversy. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article, and tomorrow we'll further see that okay, what will be the final decision that will be given by the Supreme Court. Now, states told to share intel on the common grid. Now, guys, this particular article will be important in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3, the national security. Is it clear? National security, even in internal security, this particular article will be important. Now, guys, what has happened? See, over the past few months, we have seen this particular thing that, guys, there are the terrorist activities that have increased. Few months back, there was a kind of a attack onto one of an air base into the Jammu. There was a drone attack. Fine. Before that, also the intrusions have happened, and many of the expert committees have come that now the terrorist activities, they are on a rise, infiltrations are on a rise. So into this particular capacity, the information sharing, the intelligence sharing is needed. Now what has happened, the union government has asked the state government to share the intelligence inputs which they are having, and for this particular thing there is one designated organization that is there. It is the multi-agency center. Now, this multi-agency center, it is a common counter-terrorism grid. It is a kind of an agency which will be collating the information from the different stakeholders. And this multi-agency center was created in 2001 after the Kargil war. Because guys, before the Kargil, after the Kargil war, it was realized that there were many of the intelligence gaps that were there. So therefore, to fill these intelligence gaps, the multi-agency center was created. Now, into this multi-agency center, guys, there are the 28 organizations that are there which are providing their particular data, and the agencies such as the RAW, Research and Analysis Wing, it is the part of this multi-agency center. Then the armed forces, they provide the data. State polices, they are providing the data onto this particular platform. So after having a lot of data, we can actually make the themes, we can actually make the corrections, and we can come out with the good intelligence. So this is the multi-agency center. But guys, now over the past few years, it has been seen that the state governments, they are often reluctant to share information onto this particular platform. Why? Because the state government says that under the design of the federalism, the state government, they are the equal participants and they will not share the data. According to the state government, this will be the breach onto their own federal onto their own federal power, because it is believed that the multi-agency center, it is mainly controlled by the central government. So the state governments are not providing the data. Into this particular capacity, a parliamentary standing committee report was also submitted in 2020, and this parliamentary standing committee report of 2020, it also highlighted this particular thing that the states are reluctant to share the information. So therefore now the Minister of Home Affairs had told the state government that they have to share the intel onto the common grid, so that we can make the trends, we can have a good intelligence, and we can deter the terrorist attacks into the future. So this is the multi-agency center that is there. However, guys, apart, if we move little bit beyond the scope of this particular article, actually, if I tell you, see, there are large number of other problems also. There is the NAT grid also, National Intelligence Grid. NAT grid is also there. Now this NAT grid, it was created after the Mumbai attacks. Is it the Mumbai terror attacks? This NAT grid was collected, and here also large number of agencies, the central agencies, the state government, they are coming together. They are collecting the terrorism related information. So basically, guys, there is also a kind of a valid criticism in all these particular grids, these platforms, that multiplicity, for example, the NET grid is there, multi-agency center is there. At the end of the day, they are serving a similar kind of a purpose. Is it clear? So they could be merged also in order to have the better intelligence and in order to avoid the duplication. So this is one more additional thing apart from this particular article that you can have in your mind. So that is all about it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, this particular article taken from the Hindu newspaper, what it is talking about, Odisha child panel opposes rising legal age of marriage. This article will be important for our GS paper number 1, the women rights as women and related issues, and even in GS paper number 2 also, the women and related issues have been mentioned. So both of the papers, it will be important. It will be an important topic of the social justice reforms also. Now, before going into this particular article, guys, I will tell you some of the background first. Now, the background goes like this. Background, it goes like this, that in India, we have the marriageable age different for the girls and different for the boys. And the girls' marriageable age, fine, it is provided into, basically both the girls and the boys' marriageable age is provided in two different type of law. There is number one, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act of 2006, that is there. And apart from that, there are many of the personal laws also that are there. Now, the personal laws of the different communities, for example, the Hindus, they have their different personal law. Hindu Marriage Act they have. For the Muslims, there is a Muslim Marriage Act. Then the Christians Marriage Act, Parsi Marriages Act. So personal laws are also there. In both of these places, the marriageable age for the girls as well as the boys have been provided. Now, when we talk about the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, fine, this basically universally applies, and under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act, the marriageable age for the girls is 18 years and for the boys it is 21 years right now. Clear? Now, the recently what had happened, guys, the committee was constituted actually the last year, and that was the Jaya Jetli committee, and this Jaya Jetli committee had recommended that the marriageable age of girls also is to be increased on par with the boys. Increase the girls marriageable age also to 21 years. And as this particular suggestion was made into the winter session that has just been concluded, a bill has also been raised to increase the marriageable age of girls from 18 years to 21 years. And into this particular line, large number of criticisms, arguments in support, etc. is coming. Now, what had happened? Today we'll see the Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, what they have said into this particular point. Clear? Now, the Odisha Child Panel, now they had provided that actually this particular decision to increase the age should not be there. Fine. Their logic, very good logic they have given. Please do, guys, note it down in your into your notebook. Directly a question can come onto this particular line. Number one, it has been provided that if we see the data of the National Crime Record Bureau, then the National Crime Record Bureau provides that only 785 cases were registered under the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act in 2020. 2020, just 785 cases registered. 523 cases were registered in 2019 and 501 cases were registered in 2018. So we see that very less number of cases are actually registered into this Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. But guys, at the same time, recently the National Family Health Survey 5 that released its report, it provided that in India 23.3% girls are being married before the age of 18 years. So you see 23.3, and how many cases are actually being registered? Just 700, 500. So basically it has been provided that actually the law has been failed. The law has been failed, and just legally increasing the age of women for marriage will not be bringing any kind of a sense. Moreover, the Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, it has provided that it also will create a class of unwed mothers, mothers which have the child but they are not wedded. Such class will be created. How? We'll understand it just in a minute. Now, what the Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights provide? It provides that rather than bringing the legislation, we need to bring the socio-behavioral change in the parents as well as into the community. There are many other factors which leads for the girl marriages, child marriages. The factors such as the distress, poverty, patriarchal norms where the men assert a control over the women, lack of opportunities. Fine, women are not having the schools, they are not having the employment opportunities, and therefore what happens? The women, they become a burden, and because they become a burden, they are getting married. So the socio-behavioral change at the level of parent, at the level of community is rather needed. We need to give them the opportunities of schooling, education, employment. This is the way in which the girl marriages, the child marriages can be deterred. Is it clear? Livelihood opportunities to the families also are to be provided so that they can bear the expenditure of the girl child. This is to be done. Then, guys, one very important and very good kind of a point has also been provided by the Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Fine, Odisha State Commission for Protection of Child Rights. What they provide? See, in India, for the welfare of the juveniles, for the welfare of the children below the age of 18 years, we have the Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act. Number one. Number two, we also have the Integrated Child Protection Scheme. Under both of this Juvenile Justice Act and the Integrated Child Protection Act, the children below the 18 years, they are provided rehabilitation, they are provided the support, they are provided the nutrition, everything. But they are provided only up till the age of 18 years. Now, if you will increase the marriageable age of girls from 18 years to 21 years, so basically before the 21 years, if the girl is needed to be given some support, who will be giving the support? Because the Juvenile Justice Act gives only up till 18 years. Integrated Child Protection Act, it also gives up till 18 years. So their mandate is up till 18 years. So therefore, how you will be providing the help to them? Is it clear? How you will provide the help to the child bride and child groom if they are rescued between the age of 19 to 21 years from a child marriage? Where you will provide the support? You don't have institution. Then the next thing that guys come here is, guys, a very good point, a very good point that has been raised. Please be please attentively see what this point is. In India, we have one of a law which is created to prevent the sexual harassment of the children below the age of 18 years. That is the Protection of the Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. We call it as a POCSO Act. POCSO Act is there. Now, guys, into the POCSO Act, it has been provided that a girl and the boy, they can maintain, they can have the sexual relations after the age of 18 years. Before the 18 years, they cannot have the sexual relationship. So consensus, the sex with the consensus, it is sorry, the sex with the consent. The sex with the consent is allowed after the 18 years. So what we will do if we'll increase the age to 21 years, it will mean that the girls, they can have the sexual relationship. Into that particular sexual relationships, the pregnancy can be attained, but they cannot get married. Even let's say that the women of 19 years had made a sexual relationship and got pregnant, she cannot get married. Into this particular thing, either she have to deliver a child, and if she delivers a child, what she will become? She will become a unwedded mother. And into this particular thing, a lot of stigma will be attached to that particular women. It is a problem. Second thing, if she doesn't wants to become an unwed mother, and if she wants to abort, into that capacity, guys, what will happen? The feticide will increase. Is it clear? So either the feticide will increase, or rather the unwed mothers will increase. Why? Because they will not be able to get married. So into this particular thing, again, the new type of problem will be coming. So therefore, the Odisha state panel has provided that rather than increasing the age of girls to 21 years, rather reduce the age of boys from 21 to 18 years and made a universal age to get married, that is 18 years for both the girls as well as boys. This is a suggestion that has been given. So guys, I believe that it is a very good article. Please guys, note down these points directly into your notes. So that is all fine, and you can download the direct PDF also from our Telegram channel if you want. That is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now this article, order on CCTVs in spas against the Supreme Court verdict on privacy. Now guys, in this particular article, there are certain very good points onto the right to privacy that has been mentioned. Fine, the right to privacy has been explained in a very better way. So we'll see this particular entire article. Now this article will be important for our GS paper number 2, the issues related to the fundamental rights, particularly the right to privacy. The right to privacy, this article will be very much important. Is it clear? Now before that, guys, I will tell you some of the background. Clear? Background. Now the background goes like this. Let's see. In basically the background goes like this, that there are the spas, there are large number of spas, particularly in Delhi. Clear? Now these spas, it have been alleged that into these spas, the basically a kind of you can say that a human trafficking goes there, the prostitution etc goes there into these spas. So guys, for a brief period of time, these spas were also basically there were controls that were imposed onto these spas. The cross gender massages were banned. However, that particular thing was said that it is a kind of an irrational thing, and then it got removed. Now guys, what had happened, a new order has been passed, and into this order it has been said that onto the spa, the CCTV cameras are to be installed. Is it clear? It has been said that there needs to be the installation of the CCTV cameras into these spas. Now it has been said that order of a CCTV camera onto these spas, it goes against the Supreme Court verdict onto the right to privacy. Now let's understand that what is the right to privacy. So basically, into the Puttaswamy judgment, in the Puttaswamy judgment or the Puttaswamy case, the Supreme Court provided that as the part of Article number 21 of the Indian Constitution, as the part of Article number 21 of the Indian Constitution, the right to privacy has been given to all the citizens, and this right to privacy cannot be taken. Right to privacy was intricate right. Now what has happened? Basically, it has been provided that Now it has been provided by here one of Madras High Court that actually the order that is the CCTV cameras will be installed into the spas. This particular thing will be going against the right to privacy that has been guaranteed into the article number 21. Is it clear? Which was provided into the Puttaswamy case already. I told you. Here it has been provided that when we talk about the right to privacy takes many different forms. It includes the right to bodily autonomy, what to do with your body, where to go, where not to go, where to spend time, where not to spend time, everything. Your entire bodily autonomy is a part of a right to privacy. Basically right to informational privacy is there, right to privacy of choice is there. It's clear. So many dimensions are there into the right to privacy. It has been provided. Now when the CCTV cameras will be installed into the premises such as a spa, it will infract upon the person's body autonomy. A person's, let's say he want to spend a time into the spa, fine, he will not be able to go that particular thing because a kind of a fear will be there that a spa is that into a spa the CCTV camera is there, so it will impact onto the person's bodily autonomy. Moreover, it has been provided that there are certain inviolable spaces. What are the inviolable spaces? Inviolable spaces are those where the state government cannot go and cannot make their surveillance into this particular capacity. With basically the spa could be a inviolable space, it could be actually a private space, fine, it could be a private space where the state should not be allowed to enter. Further guys, it has also been provided that the such kind of a CCTVs, it will violate the article number 21. Okay, and if you want to still come out with such kind of a violation, that violation should be made only by the legislatures. Okay, only by the legislature through a law you should bring that particular thing. Is it clear? Just the judiciary should not come out with an order and say that okay, the CCTVs will be installed. Such kind of a thing will not be right. This particular thing has been provided, fine, this particular thing has been provided. After that guys, it has been said that okay, there are many times suspicion that into the spa some immoral activities are going on, but this suspicion cannot be a reason enough to intrude into an individual's right to relax. So guys, a new right to relax has also been talked about, and this right to relax also comes under the article number 21. So just a suspicion that there is a prostitution going on, you cannot intrude the right to relax, you cannot bring a CCTV camera there. Now the right to relax, it is part and parcel of the fundamental right to privacy. Right to relax is a part and parcel of the fundamental right to privacy. Now guys, one very good reference has been given by one of a scholar, that is the Priscilla M. Regan. What Priscilla M. Regan says, the Priscilla M. Regan says this particular thing, that when we talk about the right to privacy, we believe that the right to privacy is a personal right. We believe that the right to privacy belongs at the level of individual only. But now we need to change this particular thinking. It has been provided that we need to understand the right to privacy as the social value. Clear? As a part of a public policy, the right to privacy should be added. Government should reinforce the right to privacy and should not tamper with the right to privacy. All such kind of a new dimensions into the right to privacy has been given into this particular article. So guys, I hope that this particular thing you are able to understand. Find a very good article, and all these points can directly be used in your GS paper number 2 answers. Is it clear? So now the right to privacy is inviolable in private spaces. Right to privacy includes the right to relax, it includes the right to bodily autonomy. All these things are there. That is about it. Okay, so in meanwhile we have certain questions. Do we need to tap the sports edition also, as 2020 being a unprecedented year? With questions from the arena of sports, guys, yes, there were certain questions onto the some of the cricket events etc in 2021, but I will not suggest that go and read the entire articles or the news from the sports section, because that particular thing at the end of the day, the consolidation will become even more difficult. If you have an interest, go into that particular thing, but I will not be advising to take some extra effort, because we don't know the trend. It is just once it has happened, so I will not be suggesting, because practically it will become very much difficult. That is about, that are the my views. However, you can have a different perception also if you want. That is about it. And now we'll move to the next article. Now, transition in peril. Now this particular article, guys, taken from the Hindu newspaper, and this article is talking about the Sudan crisis that is going on. So this entire Sudan crisis will be understanding, and what are the exact situation that is happening there will understand. This article can be relevant for our GS paper number 2, international affairs. International affairs, this particular article will be important. However, while reading this particular Sudan article, I will say that please don't go too much into this particular detail. Fine. Why? Because guys, this is at the end of that the internal matter of Sudan. We need to have a overview of this particular thing. So please don't go too much into the detail. This is I am explaining here. Now, let's understand this Sudan crisis. So basically guys, when we talk about the Sudan, Sudan is a country in Africa. Sudan is a country in Africa. Couple of years back, Sudan got bifurcated in two parts. One became the Sudan and other became the South Sudan. The South Sudan. Now this particular article is about the Sudan. Now guys, the Sudan and South Sudan basically both are having their own internal weaknesses in terms of economic situation. A lot of weaknesses are there. Now guys, when we talk about the Sudan, actually the story of this particular Sudan crisis, it starts from the late 2018 and the early 2019. Now what was happening till the 2019, there was authoritarian president Omar al-Bashir. He was ruling the Sudan. Okay, so Omar al-Bashir, he was authoritarian president. He was not endorsing the individual rights. Okay, he was not endorsing the democratic entitlements onto the people. So he was not liked. At that point of a time, the military actually overthrew the president Omar al-Bashir and military took the power into the Sudan. However, guys, as the military took the power into the Sudan, Bashir was toppled. The demonstrations got started into the street. A civil war situation started into the Sudan. A civil crisis started into the Sudan in 2019. Why? Because the people said that okay, you have removed the authoritarian president, but what is the purpose of that particular thing? Because again, the military rule has been established, so we don't want the military rule. We want a democratic government into the Sudan. That was a demand in 2019. And actually what happened, the military actually said that okay, we will be providing you a democratic transition, and it was decided that the military and the civilian leaders, they will both rule together. It was decided that the military and the civilian leaders will both rule together, and over a period of time we will completely be transitioning to a democratic government. This was an arrangement that was made in 2019. So a plan was to be negotiated to move to a completely democratic setup. And guys, in order to carry this particular thing, what happened into the Sudan, a sovereignty council was created, and into this particular sovereignty council, a power sharing agreement was created between the generals of the military and the civilian leaders. And as the part of this particular general agreement, it was decided that we will have a civilian prime minister, and this particular prime minister will further be helping to create a cabinet, and through the help of that prime minister, that cabinet, then we will be further be moving into the line of democratic transition. So it was decided at that point of a time in 2019. Now guys, it was decided that into the Sudan, technocratic government will be formed. Technocratic government will be formed. Now what is this a technocratic government? Technocratic government means the government where actually the people from the technical fields, they are ruling. For example, the minister of finance will be only that particular person who is having a technical experience into the finance, into the economics. Who will be the minister of defense? Minister of defense will be the one who is having a technical experience into the defense and defense related issue. So technocratic government is one which consists of specialist, Is it clear? So this kind of a government was to be created. Now guys, what happened? As this particular power sharing agreement was signed between the military and the civilian leaders, sovereignty council was designed. Then guys, Mr. Hamdok, is it clear? Mr. Hamdok, Abdullah Hamdok, he was chosen as a prime minister. Okay, he will be helping for the transition. Now the Mr. Abdullah Hamdok, he was an economist by training, and he was very widely respected into the entire Sudan. He actually worked with the United Nations earlier also, and the Sudan, it was having a large number of international debt. He said that okay, some part of this particular international debt should be forgiven away. Into the return, the Sudan had to remove the subsidies onto the fuels and many other subsidies subsidies. However, though this particular decision was good, but guys, as the subsidies were to be removed in return, what happened? The price of fuel increased, the inflation increased into the Sudan. Though Mr. Hamdok's intention, we cannot completely say that it was wrong. Some people say that okay, his intention was right. So Hamdok started ruling as a prime minister, and then the military was going on, and both were working together. Actually, guys, few months back into the month of October, there was one coup that was also conducted by the military. Even when this thing was going on, Mr. Hamdok was removed. But guys, then again the pressure increased from the people. Mr. Hamdok was again reinstated, and the things were going on. And they were saying that okay, we both will try to bring a democratic government into the Sudan. This particular thing was going on. Now, guys, into this particular thing, guys, what happened? As the Mr. Hamdok was ruling as a prime minister, this new civilian government, against this particular thing, the people started to protest. People started to say this particular thing, that the Mr. Hamdok will actually be helping in legitimizing the military takeover. Mr. Hamdok is a hand in glove with actually the military generals of the Sudan. And he said, and the people, they started saying this thing, that the military now has the power. The military now has the power. Now, as this particular allegations are being made, further the protest, further the problems actually intensified into the Sudan. Now, guys, all this particular thing was being going on. Mr. Hamdok was criticized, and now the Mr. Hamdok has resigned as the prime minister. He said that I am resigning as a prime minister. Now, this particular thing had again bring a kind of a new problem into the Sudan. Now, what is this new problem that has come? It is this. See, first of all, now, guys, when we see, the military has the power. Now the military has the power. Why? Because the government was to be driven by two. One is the civilian leader, other is the military. Now the civilian leader, Mr. Hamdok, prime minister, he had resigned. So only military is there. So entire power is with there, the military. Now, guys, the military, what it can do, it can take over the entire control. But this particular thing will bring a civil war into the Sudan. The people will not like it. And the second option is that now the military should look for a new legitimate prime minister. But the question is coming, that how they will be looking for a new prime minister. Why? Because there is one more problem that now comes here. I told you guys that already in 2019 all this particular problem started, or this thing started in 2019. In 2019 there was a constitutional declaration that was made, and as per this constitutional declaration of 2019, it was said that the prime minister will be selected by a legislative council and then endorsed by a sovereignty council. Sovereignty council, already we discussed. Sovereignty council was a body under which the civilian and the military both were ruling and were trying to bring the democratic transition. So it was provided in 2019 that the PM will be selected by the legislative council, and then it will be endorsed by the sovereignty council. Now, guys, what had happened up till now, 2021, 2 years, this legislative council has not been formed. Secondly, this sovereignty council, it has also been disbanded by the military there. So neither the legislative council is there nor the sovereignty council is there. So how new prime minister will be coming? Let's say even if by any arrangement they are created, then guys, whether this new prime minister, whosoever will be coming, he will be trusted by the people or not, it is also kind of a very big problem, because Mr. Abdullah Hamdok, he was basically trusted by the people, but still he was not allowed to control. Still against him also the people were not believing in him. So therefore, who will be this new prime minister? How he will be chosen? Whether the people will be trusting it? All these kind of problems are there. And into this particular capacity, the Sudan had actually again went into a type of a crisis. Meanwhile, guys, if we see into the Sudan, the inflation has soared to 400%. Inflation is there. It has been provided that a humanitarian assistance is immediately needed into the Sudan. 43 million people into the Sudan, they need the humanitarian assistance. The hunger is increasing there. The medical requirements are there. The food shortages are there. It is provided that, guys, immediately some steps are to be taken into this particular direction. So, guys, this is the entire thing that has been provided here from the scratch up till now. Guys, I hope that you have understood this particular thing. Beyond this, there is nothing more than that you have to see. Is it clear? So that is all about this thing. So, guys, that is about it. I hope it is clear. Now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Okay, everything is clear. Sir, 27% for OBC. Yes, 27% is for OBC. Okay, GS4 ethics batch. Okay, GS4 ethics batch is already going on. You can check my Telegram channel. Okay, it is going to start today. The hint of a nation, one NGO regime. Now, this is the editorial taken from the Hindu newspaper. It will be important for the GS paper number 2, developmental industry. GS paper number 2, developmental industry. This particular article will be important. Okay, now let's see this particular article. But before this particular article, guys, there is a little bit of a background that I will tell you now. What is this background? First of all, see, when we talk about the NGOs means the non-governmental organization, and these NGOs, these are such bodies which are distinct from the government. Under the Societies Registration Act, they are usually registered, but they can also be registered under the Companies Act of 2013 under the not-for-profit category. Clear? So NGOs are there. Now, guys, when we talk about NGOs work specifically separate from the government. They are also called as the non-state actors. Now, NGOs, they had helped a lot into the last few years, but now what is happening? There are the NGOs which are being targeted by the government. This is being said. Fine. How the NGOs are being targeted by the government? Basically, recently, guys, we have seen that on to the January, or the 1st January, the FCRA, that is the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act license, FCRA license of nearly 6,000 NGO was cancelled after they were not able to after they are not able to abide to the guideline. Now, what is this FCRA? What is this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act? Understand this particular thing. Now, the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, guys, it is a law under which the Ministry of Home Affairs gives the license to an organization if the organization has to receive a foreign funding. So the NGOs, if they want to receive a foreign funding, they need to take a license under the FCRA from the Ministry of Home Affairs. Even the political parties also, if they want to receive the foreign funding, they need to get the license under the FCRA. Now, guys, this FCRA was brought in 2010, and it wants to prohibit the foreign money coming into the India for anti-developmental purpose. So this FCRA was there. Now, guys, under this FCRA, basically it has been provided that large number of due diligences are to be done. Many times the NGOs are not able to do all those diligences, and then their licenses are cancelled. It has been provided that what due diligences are required. Now, many number of due diligences are required. For example, guys, it has been provided that actually a bank account has to be open for the foreign contribution into the State Bank of India. Then the linking of Aadhaar card needs to be there. Linking of the PAN card is need to be there. Now, so much of the documentation, opening a bank into the Delhi, fine, for NGOs who are, let's say, working into the South India, working into the Northeast India, sometimes becomes very much difficult. And when this particular thing happens, what happens? Their license is cancelled, and large number of, I told you, 6,000 NGOs license got cancelled. Now, guys, it has been provided that if we see presently a kind of an attack onto the civil societies is being made, an attack onto the NGOs is being made. Now, there are two logical explanations that come because of under this particular article. Explanation number one: these NGOs, these civil societies were bad from the very start. If they were bad from the very start, how they are operating up till now? Fine, up till now they had done too much of a damage. Where the government was, because they were bad and for so many years they had already operated. So where the government was? Second thing is coming that okay, they were not bad. Now they are being attacked. Why? Because there is a xenophobia that had come, the right-wing extremism that had come. Actually, the NGOs who are talking against the government, all are being targeted. So for the anti-governmental stand of the NGOs, now they are being targeted. So if this is the reason, then guys, then also it is bad. Why? Because the NGOs, they are only to protect the interest of the people. So why you are targeting them? So therefore, it has been provided that guys, such kind of attack onto the NGO, it is bad on both of the aspects. Now, the amendment that have been carried into the FCRA, clear, it will kill the large number of NGOs. Is it clear? How it will kill the large number of NGOs? Number one, guys, recently in 2020, actually, the amendment were brought into the FCRA, and one of an amendment into this FCRA was this also, that the NGOs, they cannot provide the sub grants. Now, what is this issue of the sub grant? I'll explain you this thing. Suppose there was an NGO, its name was the ABC NGO. Now, this ABC NGO, let's received the $1 million from the USA. Clear? $1 million were received by the USA. Now, the new FCRA rules provide that this ABC NGO cannot give this particular money to some other NGO. but this particular thing is problematic. How this thing is problematic? See this thing, guys, that actually large number of NGOs who are working in rural areas, large number of NGOs who are working at very low levels, they are actually dependent on to these big NGOs who are in return raising money from the foreign sources. So all those grassroots NGOs, they will be killed. Now these grassroots NGOs, they actually work for many number of things. They are providing the education, they are providing the food, they are providing the skill development to the people. So all those NGOs will be killed if this sub grant clause will be there. So this is one issue that has come. After that, guys, the new FCRA rules, they have also restricted the administrative expenses. They have restricted the administrative expenses. Now see, many of the NGOs are there which actually have the administrative expenses only. For example, the NGOs which are working for the research, etc., their major experience expenses not into the field, their major expenses into the office only. So this administration expenses that is it has been restricted. It will also be impacting large number of NGOs. Then, guys, second thing that has been provided here, that the next thing that has been provided here, that if again the point I talked, that if these NGOs were already bad, why they were allowed up till now? If they are not bad, now government is attacking from their anti-government stand, then also it is not good. It has been provided that actually we need the civil societies for many number of reasons. Number one, we need the civil societies because they have a lot of efficiency in the delivery of the goods, in the delivery of the justice to the people. We find that for the rehabilitation, for the compensation of the people which was to be given after their lands were acquired, the NGOs had worked into that particular thing. NGOs had provided the justice to the people by telling them, okay, what the legal courses they have. The NGOs such as the Mazdoor Kisan Shakti Sangathan was very much instrumental in bringing the right to information. When we talk about the right to information, it has actually brought the accountability of the government. So in checking the government's accountability also, the NGOs play a very important role. After that, basically there is the extractive nature of the market. Many times, basically, certain actors, certain stakeholders, they try to they try to exploit the people, they try to exploit the poor people. Is it clear? So their rights are actually reaffirmed by the NGOs. The next thing that has been provided, that many of these NGOs are actually doing certain works which are beyond the capability of the state government. For example, Mother Teresa's NGO, whose FCRA license was cancelled, it was providing large number of aid to the poor people. Their health aid was being provided to them. So basically, the help that is being provided by such NGOs, they are beyond the capability of the state because the state has the funding shortage and all such kind of things. Then the next thing that is coming here is that, see, there is a need of foreign funding. Number one, when we talk about a humanitarian cause doesn't have any boundary. Doctors Without Borders, they are going in all the countries and they are helping the people. Reporters Without Borders, fine. So Reporters Without Borders, Doctor Without Borders, what it means? It means the cause, the help doesn't have any boundary. So why you are discriminating that the funding is foreign or the funding is domestic? Secondly, the humanitarian work which is being done by the Mother Teresa's NGOs such as the Missionaries of Charity, it is beyond the capability of state. Already we have seen. So why, if the state is not able to help, why you are not allowing the foreign funding also into this particular direction? Then next thing that has been provided is that basically that variety of work that these NGOs are doing, it cannot be captured by the annual returns. Is it clear? You say that okay, you need to file an annual return, you need to tell what money you received. So these annual returns are just a very superficial kind of measures. Clear? So this is, guys, the entire arguments that have been made into this particular direction, and we understand that why this step is not very much good and why the excess of the funding is to be given to the NGOs. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. I hope you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, the bottom line in Blinken's foray into the South Asia. So this article will be important for our GS paper number 2, the international affairs. Fine. Now, guys, what this article is talking about? This article is talking about the United States Secretary of State's recent visit to the Southeast Asia, and in general, it is talking about the USA's strategy into the Southeast Asia. Now, first of all, guys, when we talk about the Southeast Asia, it has become a very much important part of the America's foreign policy calculus. Is it clear? Indo-Pacific, Southeast Asia. Is it clear? All these regions are very much important. Now, guys, before the visit, the core principles of America's strategy were outlined. America believes to have a free and open Indo-Pacific region. And guys, even the Barack Obama talked about the Asia pivot or the regional rebalancing, and even though Barack Obama gave a lot of importance to the Asia Pacific region, and now the Joe Biden is also giving a lot of importance to the Asia Pacific region. First of all, guys, if we talk about the Asia Pacific, now we can see that actually into the Asia Pacific, into the Southeast Asia, there are two powers which are actually which are having a lot of control, which are having their hegemony, that is the China, and at the other hand we have the USA. So China's influence is rising onto the Southeast Asia, and the USA doesn't like that particular thing. USA wants that actually the entire Southeast Asia needs to be the shared region, it needs to be interconnected, it needs to be the secure region. This is believed by the USA. Now guys, when we talk about the USA and the China, they want that the ASEAN countries, Association of Southeast Asian Nation, the ASEAN countries should come either into their control. USA wants ASEAN should come under their control, China believes that they should come under their control, and into this particular thing both are negotiating with the countries. Now guys, USA and China, their competition into the region can be seen in two areas. Number one is into the South China Sea, and number two is into the is in terms of the infrastructure development. Now into the South China Sea, we find this particular thing that the China says that entire South China Sea belongs to us. Clear, the stake of the regional neighborhood countries, they are not being respected by the China. However, the USA at the same times had continued the freedom of navigation operation, FONOPS operation. Now what is this freedom of navigation operation? It means that actually the USA enters into the South China Sea without taking the permission of the China. Why? Because the USA had always talked about this particular thing, that the seas needed to be open, the seas needed to be allowed, the accessibility of seas should be given to everybody, and in order to assert that thing, the USA again and again enters into the South China Sea. Recently this FONOPS operation was also being carried, fine, because the freedom of seas, freedom of navigation, overflight should be given. Now basically guys, the next comes is the infrastructure. So basically through the infrastructure, China wants to develop the hegemony here. China is running their Belt and Road Initiative, and into this Belt and Road Initiative, large number of money, large number of funding, investment is being given to the ASEAN countries and into the neighborhood countries, so that they can come under the China's umbrella. At the same time, the USA is also committed to provide the infrastructure into this particular region, ports, roads, power grids, broadbands, everything. Now the USA is doing this particular thing by two of the tools. USA is asking the Quad members, now the Quad members are Australia, India, Japan and USA itself. It is asking them that $48 billion into the government backed money, government backed finances to be given to this particular region for the infrastructure development. So through the Quad, US is providing the investment in order to counter the China, and through the Build Back Better World Initiative and the Blue Dot Network also the US is providing the money. Fine, so the USA wants to counter the China. Now what are this Build Back Better and the Blue Dot Network? So guys, number one, the Build Back Better. Recently at the G7 summit, this Build Back Better World Initiative was started. Under this Build Back Better World Initiative, it was provided that into the low and middle income countries for the health, digital technology, gender equality, equity, the money will be invested. Is it clear? Now this Build Back Better initiative is to counter the Belt and Road Initiative of China. And then there is a Blue Dot Network also. Now this Blue Dot Network was started in 2019 at the Indo-Pacific Business Forum in the Thailand, and it also wants to bring the government, private sector and many other stakeholders together to provide the high quality infrastructure into the region. So the Build Back Better and the Blue Dot Network are the two initiatives which have been there to actually counter the the Belt and Road Initiative of the China. Is it clear or not? So this is guys as how the powers are involving into a competition into this particular region. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now ICMR approves indigenous kit to detect the Omicron. See, now guys, the Omicron, it is one of a variant. Many other variant might be coming after this Omicron, and many variants had come before this Omicron also. So there are actually the hundreds of variants up till now that have been registered of the COVID-19 virus. To test them, the different testing kits have been there. Is it clear or not? Basically, I will insist that reading the scientific specification of all these kits etc is not very much required. Why? Because so many will be developed till the time your exam will come, and so many have already been developed also. So going into that particular technological aspect, I don't think that it is a very good kind of an investment of your energy that is going to be there. Is it clear? So basically, ICMR had approved the indigenous kit to detect the Omicron. Earlier, we were relying on to the USA's kit to detect the Omicron, but now we have got it. Our kit we got it. Basically, the kit, it works on to the SGTF strategy. What is this SGTF strategy? It is the S gene target failure strategy. Now the earlier kit, that was the kit of USA, it was also working on to the same technology, that is the SGTF's S gene target failure strategy. Now the ICMR had approved such kind of a indigenous kit. By this particular thing, we don't need to depend on to the USA's imported kits, and actually we will be able to enhance the number of testing. And guys, when we talk about the COVID-19 protocol, the test and treat needs to be the two things that are very important. So we will get the help into this. So that is one thing, guys, that is there. But one more important thing that is coming is that the WHO, into the line of this Omicron, had suggested that we now need to establish the SARS-CoV-2 genomics consortium into the Southeast Asia this year. Now this genomics consortium will be identifying the new variants. Is it clear? See, you go and you get tested for the COVID-19. Now COVID-19 is a generic test, but within the COVID-19 also, the type of variant that with which a person got infected, for that we need to go for a genome sequencing. Now guys, even if I tell you that 100 cases are coming, just 5 to 7 are being tested for this genome sequencing, and the same situation is there into the entire Southeast Asia. So WHO is saying that we need to develop a genomic consortium. The countries need to come together, they need to share resources, they need to share know-how, they need to share technology, so that they can develop the sequencing and surveillance capabilities. Now by this particular thing, guys, what we can do, we can timely identify the new variants of the SARS-CoV-2 that will be coming, and the timely action can be taken. Now this particular thing, it has been provided, will help in improve the timely usage of genomic data for public health decision making, and we will be able to deal with the pandemic, etc. So basically, guys, it has been provided that up till now, why this genomic testing has not been increased into the Southeast Asia, the region is that basically the countries, they having the restricted capabilities, trained workforce is not there, monetary resources are not there into the individual country. So what they can do, all the countries can come together, and by coming together, the genomic consortium of the Southeast Asia should be developed this particular year. Now guys, this could be your suggestion to tame the pandemic. What should be done? This could be your suggestion, so please do use it. So that is all, guys, which has come here. Now we'll move to the next article. Sri Lanka cabinet clears oil tank deal. So guys, just 2 days back, this oil tank deal already we have discussed. Now this oil tank deal is, guys, like this, that into the Sri Lanka, there are the oil tanks that were developed by the Britishers during the World War II. Clear? Now these are more than 90 of these oil tanks are there. Now guys, these oil tanks are to be now redeveloped, and the Indian Oil Corporation Limited, IOCL, wants to redevelop these oil farms into the Sri Lanka. One subsidiary of IOCL is there, which we call it as Lanka IOCL. We call it as Lanka IOCL. So this is the subsidiary of Indian Oil Corporation Limited of India, which is working in Sri Lanka. Now this Lanka IOCL wants to develop these oil tanks. Now guys, after so many years of negotiation, I tell you, this negotiation is going on for more than 30 years. Since 1987, this negotiation of developing the oil tanks is going on. Now finally what had happened, this particular deal has been approved, and now even the Sri Lanka's cabinet had approved this oil tank deal into the Sri Lanka. Now what is this oil tank deal? I will tell you here. Number one, guys, there are the 14 of such tanks. Which will be developed by the Indian Oil Corporation Limited. So 14 tanks out of these 90 plus, they will be developed by the IOCL, but actually by the Lanka IOCL. Now actually they were earlier given the 35-year lease. Now this particular lease have also been had been extended to 50 years. So again I'll tell, as per the oil tank deal of the Sri Lanka, the 14 of the oil tanks will be developed by the IOCL, and the 50-year lease has been expanded. Earlier the lease was of 35 years. Then guys, the next thing that has been there is that there were the 61 other tanks that will be developed both by the India as well as Sri Lanka. Into this, the 51% of the stake will be of Sri Lanka, and 49% of the stake will be of the India. Clear? So there will be the joint development, and then there will be other tanks which will be developed just by the Sri Lanka. So 14 tanks will be developed by OIOCL. Then the 61 tanks will be developed by by the collaboration. See, you don't need to go too much into the detail that okay, how many number of tank, etc. No, just you need to understand that this kind of a thing is important because of this particular factor, that when we talk about the 2020 and 2021, they were not very much good years in terms of the India Sri Lanka relation. In 2021 particularly, there were certain problems that happened there. What was the problem into the 2021? It was this thing that already what happened, there was a joint there was the column there was a port terminal, that was to be developed into the Sri Lanka by two countries, that is the Japan and India. What happened, that Sri Lanka cancelled that particular deal, and basically the China was given a place there, and this particular thing was not liked. So this was a kind of a problem that came here. Then guys, on to the many other things also, the fisherman issue, there was a problem. On to the trade, there was a problem. So the 2020 and 2021 were not very much good year in terms of the economic convergence, and we need the economic convergence with Sri Lanka. Why we need it? We need to keep the China away. Now see, already what China has done, China had taken the Hamban Tota port of Sri Lanka. The Hamban Tota port of Sri Lanka has been taken by the China for the 99-year lease. Now you see that the Hamban Tota port is with the China, and the Hamban Tota port can be used against the India. Moreover, into the past few years we have seen that the Chinese submarines have also docked into the Sri Lanka. So China always tries to take the Sri Lanka into their own zone of sphere. So it is our compulsion that we have to bring the Sri Lanka closer to the India so that it is not misused. And into this particular direction, this oil tank deal is important. So details are not important, the substance, the nature is important. So that is all guys about this particular thing. I hope that it is clear. Fine. So this is all it this, and guys, beyond this I will not be telling you to go beyond this thing, because all of which is important, this will help you out. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Tomorrow we'll be meeting again live at 8 a.m. And guys, I hope that this initiative is helping you out. If it is helping you, please do hit the like button, and please do subscribe to the channel. Please do spread our initiative. Thank you so much. Okay, meanwhile, thank you to everyone. RPA Rinpuya, thank you to you too, everybody. Thank you. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Please take care.